Welcome, traveler, to my realm of nightmares. Tonight, I have a special treat for you. The introduction is done by none other than Serafin, the Midnightbard. Take it away.
Hello there. My name is Serafin, the Midnightbard, and I travel from place to place, seeking the strange, the bizarre, and the unexplained. Nature is the perfect dichotomy. On one hand, nature is an image of beauty and order, where circles of life follow seasons, cycles, and delicate balances. On the other hand, it is a world without rhyme or reason, where chaos and savagery are king. The strong rule their domain, but may be stricken down at any moment by the teeth or claws of a rival. For every show of beauty and majesty, there is an equal and opposite display of fury and aggression. So it is with all things, even those that lurk in darkness. In the dead of night, where darkness obscures the dealings of the most dangerous, even those at the top of the food chain must beware. Those that do not might find themselves stained by Deadman's blood.
Beep, beep. The chime of my phone went off. I was not sure who could be messaging me at this hour. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes, and I put on my glasses. I am as good as blind without them. Unlocking the phone and opening the message. "Very clear, Oliver," was all that it read. I got up and dressed quickly. I quickly replied, "We will meet in 30 minutes, under the South Bridge. Come alone. I'll know if you're not." Getting my keys and gun, I left. Meeting scum like this guy is never fun, but it must be done. Of course this guy would not come alone, and I knew it, so I texted my partner Jeremy. He was about 20 years younger than I am. He was a former sniper for the military. When I needed multiple hostiles subdued, he was my man. It only took me and Jeremy about 10 minutes to arrive. The rest of the time, we got into position and got ready for whatever shit we were about to step into. Much like clockwork, I could hear the sound of his vehicle stopping not too far from the bridge. At least 3 occupants of the vehicle got out and shut their doors. Not more than a second later, I heard Jeremy call over the radio.
"Oliver, 3 hostiles exited the vehicle. I have them in my sights. Let me know when to take the shot, and I will subdue them."
Right after we finished, the van pulled up and the target got out. Drake Ashmore stood over 6 feet tall, had onyx hair. He wore all black, including a trench coat. If this were a movie, he'd be your cliche villain. But this was real life, and in reality, he was far more dangerous. Drake got out of the van and practically floated over to me. His footfall is so smooth and quiet, you would have sworn he was floating. "I am here, Drake. What the hell could not have waited until tomorrow night? We were supposed to meet." I sneered at him. My heart was thudding loudly in my chest. I knew the situation I found myself in was a dangerous one. One misstep from me could get us both killed. "Oliver, you don't think I don't know who you work for. I was not about to meet you on your terms and give you time to prepare the ambush. I let you choose the place we meet because all of our information shows this would be the spot. I have come ready for you." After he finished, I heard the footsteps behind me. I rolled out of the way and set off my flashbang. This was my signal for Jeremy to take his shot. Like clockwork, I heard 3 loud bangs and 3 bodies hit the ground. I stood up and brushed myself off. While Drake was still blinded, I ran over to him, pulling out the syringe and injected him with its contents. He screamed and fell unconscious. I quickly removed the ropes and bound all 4 men. After injecting the 3 that Jeremy had incapacitated, we tossed them into my van and left the area.
What was the threat level for this job?
Jeremy asked. It was a tier 2 job, but taking into account that he brought backup, that knocks it up to a tier 3, so the payday should be nice. Don't worry, our normal deal is in place, my old friend, 70-30. Without you, I would be long dead. We drove for hours in silence, until we hit the warehouse. Inside were the men that hired us for this job. He pulled in, and I was greeted by an elderly man in a very nice suit.
Do you have what we asked you to acquire for us?
The old man asked, as his security detail patted me down for any weapons. After they were finished, I looked at him and smiled at him. I got him and so much more. I called out to Jeremy and told him to open the back door. I took the elderly man, who I'll just call K, to the back and showed him that I not only had Drake, but his whole crew. K looked at me, wide-eyed, and said,
This will make this show that much better. Well, in light of the amazing work, I think a bonus is in order. What do you say, 10K apiece? Sound fair? That is on top of what we're paying you for Drake, of course.
I looked at him, and then at my partner. Yeah, that sounds fair to us. Same bank as always. Also, I hope this earns us an invite to tonight's show. I would not want to miss this scum getting what they deserve.
Yes, of course, my friend. As always, I will send you the invite with your payment.
The old man waved a dismissive hand at me.
Well, it's been a pleasure as always, gentlemen, but I must be getting off. I have a busy night of planning before tomorrow.
He tipped his hat at us. He got into his limo and drove off. Jeremy and myself got back into our vehicle. I dropped him off at his car and I drove home. By the time I got home, the sun had already started to rise. I headed back to my bed. Tomorrow will be a long day, and I needed to be well rested. I fell back into a deep sleep to be woken by my alarm. It felt like only minutes had passed. However, a quick look at my clock told me that several hours had passed by. I grabbed my phone and called Jeremy.
Oliver, what's up, man?
He asked. From the sound of it, he had just woke up as well. Hey, you coming over for tonight's show? If so, I will treat us to dinner. I knew the second I offered to get us dinner, he would be more than happy to take me up on the offer.
Hell yeah, man. I'll be over in 30 minutes. I would have come over without the dinner invite, but no takesy-backsies.
He finished with a chuckle and abruptly ended the call. I laughed to myself and made a quick call. After a few rings, a gruff man answered. Hello? What can I get you? He asked. Hi, yes. I need to order 2 number 6 meals, and I want it fresh. None of that day-old shit you give most of your customers. If it's still warm when you get here, there's a huge tip in it for you. While I waited on our food, I decided to grab a quick shower while I waited. Shortly after I finished my shower, I heard 3 raps at my door. I opened the door. In my doorway stood a portly man with my food. I smiled and looked at him. Well, this is definitely as fresh as it gets, I said, smiling and very pleased with the quality of food. After giving him a large tip, I took my meal into the kitchen. Shortly after, Jeremy strolled in. Anyone else just letting themselves into my house would have pissed me off.
Oliver, where are you?
He yelled. I'm in the kitchen. Food is in here. I could hear Jeremy walking towards the kitchen. His eyes lit up the second he saw dinner. Tied to a chair was a woman, blonde, wearing glasses. While she was not fat, she was not all skin and bones, just the way Jeremy liked them.
How did you get a human? We are only supposed to feed on blood bags, Oliver.
He said, both worried and excited at the same time. The meal to come was something Jeremy wanted badly. Oh, come on, buddy. You know we have an organization in place for this kind of thing. Besides, with the money Kay gave us today, we earned the real thing. Not that shit they force us to eat. Well, it's showtime. Let's take our meal into the living room. We sat in the living room, one wrist of the human in my hand, the other in Jeremy's. We watched as Kay brought Drake and his crew onto the stage for tonight's show. Kay started to speak.
Tonight, my lovely viewers, we have not only one, but 4 vampires. So let's start the show. If you have a method of torture you want to see, you know the deal. Donations take priority, and then we will consider viewer suggestions after. Looks like we got our first donation from Sunlight666. He says, torture him using sunlight. Well, that's a little noisy, but it's a good one.
Kay looked at one of his henchmen, and they pressed a button. The sunlight slowly directed at the vampire, a little at a time, leaving the skin a charred black. It moved up the body until the vampire stopped screaming. He exploded all over the stage.
Well, that was funny. Let's see what the audience has in store for the next one. Use religious paraphernalia. I'm not sure that'll work, but hey, it's worth a shot.
Another henchman rolled in a cart full of holy water and crosses. The vampire squirmed as they got closer. It looked like this would do something. They set crosses on different parts of his body. The skin could be heard sizzling under the holy objects. They grabbed a funnel and poured the holy water down his throat. Once the entire bottle of holy water was inside the vampire, it had an acidic effect. The vampire melted from the inside out. After it was finished, Kay looked at the camera and said,
Well, folks, looks like we just made a vampire smoothie. Bring on the next guest.
Kay stated. They wheeled in the last member of Drake's crew. Looking at the computer, Kay said,
Ah, looks like they want to see if a vampire can die of blood loss.
Kay pressed a button, and the bed the vampire was strapped to slowly tipped backwards until the vampire was hanging upside down. Kay walked over and cut the throat of the vampire and watched as the blood quickly flowed from the body. After about an hour, they checked and the blood had stopped flowing. The vampire was not dead.
Looks like bleeding them out does not kill them. It only incapacitates them. Oh well.
Kay staked the vampire and it burst into flames.
Now it's time for the main event,
Kay said as they wheeled out Drake.
For this one, we will take our time, as he is our main event. First, let's start with the holy water.
Kay poured out a turkey baster, filled it with holy water. He put it in both of Drake's eyes. The screaming that emanated from him was guttural. Once Drake calmed down, Kay spoke again.
My boys could use a little target practice, but for this one, we will be using a BB gun. However, the BBs will be made of silver and dipped in Deadman's blood. This should be fun,
Kay said with a smile.
Gentlemen, if you will. But please, avoid hitting the heart. We can't kill him too fast.
2 men came up and started shooting BBs into Drake. His screams were so horrible, it was hard to believe they came from something that used to be human. After they were finished, Kay looked at the audience, smiled and winked.
Well, it looks like it's time to bring the show to an end.
Pressing a button, he opened the ceiling and let the sunlight finish the job. Shortly after ending the show in his normal fashion, my cell phone began to ring. "Hello?" I answered, knowing who it was on the other end.
It's me. I have another job for you. Seems we have a pair of ghouls that have been causing trouble for people in a town near you. Capture them for our next show.
Kay finished with a laugh. "Of course, Kay. I will leave immediately." I looked over at Jeremy and said, "We got another one. You down for one more, partner?" Tonight's story is written by me. I would like to thank my good friends Match Chat for helping me with the lines in tonight's story, as well as Serafin, the Midnightbard, for not only helping with the lines, but also for the amazing intro he provided. Please check both of these very talented and amazing content creators out. Their links will be in the description below. Also, I have merch. If you would like to walk around representing my realm and gather and meet new travelers, the links will be in the description below. Also, I want to say thank you to my amazing Patreons. 242 Reads, Rando Calrissian, Pam, Silverthreads, Serafin, the Midnightbard, and Hair-Raising Narratives. If you would like to join these lovely travelers by the light of my fire, by becoming a Patreon, the support is always appreciated, but never expected. And as always, travelers, once you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.